So that's not a real door. Interesting. So I've been learning Godot, and even though my channel name is The Everyday Game Dev, this is the first game engine I've ever used. In the past, I've used Python to make my games, which is less like developing and more trying to navigate a maze in the dark with no light and 3 left feet. But that is a rant for a different video. In my last video, I said that I will be using Godot to make my game Castle Capture. Whichever time I say that it's my game implies that I've actually started making it, but I haven't. So my channel name is looking like even more of a lie now. So that I can actually start making my game, I need to know how to use the tools that I've decided to make it with. I already know how to use Sprite, but making a game just using an art program isn't really possible. That is where Godot comes in. Being the genius that I am, when giving myself a week to learn how to use it, I picked the week where Monday, Tuesday and half of Thursday were taken up by other plans, giving me a grand total of about 19 hours to learn what I'm doing. I started by doing what every person does when learning something new, and just did a quick search on YouTube for Godot 2D platforming tutorial, clicked on the first result, and that seemed like a decent decision. This was actually by a YouTuber which I've watched before, and his videos are very well worth watching, even though they're maybe a little long. I did record all of the footage of me following these tutorials, but that ended up being about 3.5 hours of footage. But I didn't want to waste that footage, so here is all of it in around 20 seconds. At the end of that, I had a game. Well, I had a platforming character in a world with parallax backgrounds and some coins to collect. But better than that, I had the ability to create what I wanted in Godot. And now with that knowledge, it was time to make a game. With no plan for the game, I just started making one, starting with some basic art. So I hopped on over to lowspec.com and grabbed a color palette. This one seemed nice. It's a nice basic 4-color palette, and it should make a nice simple looking game. I very quickly threw together a temporary player sprite, which was just a red square, and a tile set that I'd use for the background and the foreground terrain using a tile map, and a temporary sprite for a collectible item. The player controller was simple because I basically just copied it from the game I made for the tutorials. I also copied the code for the collectibles and the parallax backgrounds, and at this point I decided that the main goal of the game was to explore the world and find a bunch of collectibles, which meant I was basically creating a cut down 4-color crappy version of Banjo-Kazooie. And a game like that needs a world, and it was world building time. I began with a sketch of where all the collectibles would be and the paths for the world and started making. It took a really long time to make because turns out 32 by 32 pixels isn't very much when you're drawing an entire world. And it took me about 3 hours just to make the world. I then hid collectibles around the world and made sure you couldn't see off the edge of it anywhere around, just so it looked like professionally made. I also made this door, which is the end goal of the game and has a nice animation, and it'll only open after you collect all of the collectible items, which I redesigned to this, and which kind of looks like a party ring, which is a type of biscuit or cookie depending on what you call them, but they're dangerous because you can eat an entire packet of them without even realizing. So in honor of the evil biscuits that I've now decided you're finding in the game, I gave the game the glorious name of The Lost Party Rings and created a title image for it. The style of the title I definitely did not steal from the colour palette demo images, and did also not miss the from the beginning of the title, so it's now just Lost Party Rings. At this point I made some menus and the game was essentially done. Well, if you want to play it, I've published it on itch.io, which I will leave a link for in the description. Now, using Godot with previous programming experience is pretty amazing, as it's just a really quick workflow and I picked it up very quickly. And I'm kind of annoyed that Python was sold to me as a good tool for game development in the first place, as it is just awful, and the cons of Python are Python, and there is pretty much no pros to developing in it. Now, I have some updates about my game Castle Capture. I'm finally in a position to start developing it, and I'm going to be changing the name as I'm starting to hate Castle Capture, and the vision of the game that I have doesn't fit that title anymore. Okay, I have come up with a new name, but I'm not sure it'll be the final one yet. I'm going to name it One of These Nights, which I came up with by googling song titles that had the word night in it and replaced night as in nighttime with night as in a night in a castle. Which, I like the game more than Castle Capture, but I'm still not settled on it. This video took longer to make than my other two videos. It took a lot longer because, well, I did a lot in it. I came up with a new concept for the video and I learned an entire game engine. And also, by the time I started editing, I had just under 11 hours of footage. I'm also trying out this new video style with the avatar and the animations, so if you like it, please tell me in the comments. And if you don't like it, also tell me in the comments. I'll be grateful for any kind of feedback. As always, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe, and if you like the video and want to see more of them, stick around, and I'll see you in the next one.